compassion toward them because they were as sheep not having a shepherd. That's what our people are like. Sheep not having a shepherd. That's why we have to be shepherds over our sheep, because it's just like sheep led to the slaughter. Some of you are going to be led to the slaughter because you don't want a shepherd to be over you. You don't want a leader to be over you. Because they were as sheep not having a shepherd. And he began to teach them many things. So he had compassion. He started to teach them many things.
Has joined.
That's why I applaud you all for taking the time to study and to go over these scriptures and see some of the mysteries that's been hidden in the Most High from the beginning of time. Look at Exodus, the 2nd chapter in the law. Exodus 2 and 23 to 25. Exodus 2:23. And it came to pass in process of time that the king of Egypt died. And the children of Israel sighed by reason of the bondage. We in captivity under the Egyptians. And they cried. And their cry came up unto the Most High by reason of the bondage. See, we wasn't crying and being all prideful, thinking we all that, we all righteous. We crying because of the reason of the bondage, being in captivity, slavery, and bondage, and being treated a certain way. So we cried to the Most High, and the Most High heard their groaning, and the Most High remembered his covenant, his contract, his agreement with Abraham, with Isaac, and with Jacob. You see, that's his name forever, and a memorial to all generations, the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And the Most High looked upon the children of Israel, and the Most High had respect unto them. Most High looked upon us as the 12 tribes of Israel, and the Most High had respect unto us. He had no respect to persons, but he looked upon us when we did what? Cried to the Most High, behind the bondage, the hell of a condition that we were in under the Egyptians. And the Most High had compassion on us. Let's look at Exodus, the 17th chapter. And let's start at verse 8. Then came Amalek. Salakia. Then came Amalek, who are the Jewish people today, and fought with Israel in Rephidim. So they came and fought against us in Rephidim. Amalek. Y'all remember Amalek? From the beginning of this lesson, we started with Esau. In Genesis 36th chapter and verse 12. And Timnah was concubine to Eliphaz, Esau's son. And she bare to Eliphaz Amalek. See? So Amalek is an Edomite. Jewish people. We went through this. You go to the prior beginning lessons when I went through Esau, you'll see. So now, we coming out of Egypt. So we're looking at Exodus 17 and 8. Then came Amalek and fought with Israel in Rephidim. And Moses said unto Joshua, choose us out men and go out, fight with Amalek. Tomorrow I will stand on the top of the hill with the rod of the Most High in my hand. So Joshua did as Moses had said to him and fought with Amalek, went to war with Amalek. Today would be the so-called Jewish people. And Moses, Aaron, and Hur went up to the top of the hill. And it came to pass when Moses held up his hand, Moses held up his hand, that Israel prevailed. And when he let down his hand, Amalek prevailed. So long as he had his hands up, we were prevailing. We were winning the war over Amalek. But when he let his hands down, Amalek was getting the victory over us, right? But Moses' hands were heavy. And they took a stone and put it under him. And he sat thereon. And Aaron and Hur stayed up his hands, one on the one side and the other on the other side. So Aaron's holding one hand and Hur holding the other hand of Moses. It was heavy. One on the one side and the other on the other side. And his hands were steady until the going down of the sun. So they had to hold his hands up all that time. And Joshua discomfited Amalek and his people with the edge of the sword. You got the victory over. And the Most High said unto Moses, write this for a memorial in a book. That's why we're reading about it. And rehearse it in the ears of Joshua. For I will utterly put out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven. Eventually. And Moses built an altar and called the name of it Jehovah Nissi. For he said, because the Most High has sworn that the Most High will have war with Amalek from generation to generation. That's why ain't gonna be no peace over there in what they call the Middle East. Because he said, because the Most High, this is the Most High power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Jacob being the forefather of the 12 tribes of Israel, has sworn that the Most High will have war with Amalek from generation to generation. Until he fulfilled what he said. I will utterly put out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven. That has not happened. Because you remember, go to Deuteronomy 25 and 17. Deuteronomy 25 and 17. Remember what Amalek did under thee by the way. When you were come forth out of Egypt. We just read about what they did. How he met thee by the way. Just what they did. And smote the hindmost of thee. The ones in the back. The hindmost of thee. Even all that were feeble behind thee. Those that couldn't walk fast, maybe with canes or that we had to help along. The feeble of us, they killed them. Even all that were feeble behind thee, when thou was faint and weary, and he feared not the Most High. Therefore it shall be, when the Most High thy power have given thee rest from all thine enemies round about, in the land which the Most High thy power giveth thee for an inheritance to possess it, that thou shalt blot out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven. Thou shalt not forget it. You see? Most High speak once, say twice. Hey, he just said it twice. We heard it twice. He said, thou shalt not forget it. 1 Samuel 15. 1 Samuel 15. Start at verse 1. Samuel also said unto Saul, the Most High sent me to anoint thee to be king over his people, over Israel. Saul is our first king. Now therefore hearken now unto the voice of the words of the Most High. Thus said the Most High, power of hosts. He said, I remember that which Amalek did to Israel, how he laid wait for him in the way when he came up from Egypt. Still remembering what they did, what we just read. Killed the hindermost part, the feeble of us. Those that might have been lame or crippled or, faint, having a hard time keeping up and so forth. The hinder part, the ones that's in the back. Thus said the Most High, power of hosts. Verse 2, I remember that which Amalek did to Israel, how he laid wait for him in the way when he came up from Egypt. Now go and smite Amalek, telling Saul, our first king, to go and kill Amalek and utterly destroy all that they have and spare them not, but slay both man and women, infant and suckling, ox and sheep, camel and ass, kill them all, and their livestock. And Saul gathered the people together and numbered them in Telaim, 200,000 footmen and 10,000 men of Judah. And Saul came to a city of Amalek and laid wait in the valley. So he came to a city that the Amalekites were at. That's them as a nation. And Saul said unto the Kenites, go, depart, get you down from among the Amalekites. See? Amalekites. Amalekites, dealing with the so-called Jewish people, lest I destroy you with them. So he telling the Kenites, hey, get away from them, lest I'm going to kill you too. For you showed kindness to all the children of Israel when they came up out of Egypt. See, they showed kindness to we the 12 tribes of Israel. All 12 tribes was in the Egyptian captivity. So the Kenites departed from among the Amalekites. So they left from being around them. And Saul smote the Amalekites from Havilah until the cometh to Shur, that is over against Egypt. And he took Ahab, the king of the Amalekites, alive, and utterly destroyed all the people with the edge of the sword. But he saved the king, Ahab. And he took Ahab, the king of the Amalekites, alive, and utterly destroyed all the people with the edge of the sword. See? But Saul and the people spared Ahab and the best of the sheep and of the oxen and of the fatlings and of the lambs and all that was good, and would not utterly destroy them, but everything that was vile and refuge, that they destroyed utterly. What did the Most High tell them though? Verse 3. He said, now go and smite Amalek and utterly destroy all that they have, and spare them not, but slay both man and women, infant and suckling, ox and sheep, camel and ass. That's what he said. But he gonna do what he want to do. Verse 9. But Saul and the people spared Ahab. He's a man. He's supposed to be put to death. And the best of the sheep, all that's supposed to be put to death, killed. And the oxen, that's supposed to be killed. And other fatlings and other lambs and all that was good in their eyes. And would not utterly destroy them, but everything that was vile and refuse, that they destroyed utterly. Then came the word of the Most High unto Samuel, saying, it repented me that I have set up Saul to be king. So I regret making Saul king over Israel, for he is turned back from following me, and have not performed my commandments. And it grieved Samuel, and he cried unto the Most High all night. You hear that? He cried to the Most High all night, because he know. Most High said, hey, I regret I even made him king. Samuel know a judgment coming. He cried to the Most High all night. And when Samuel rose early to meet Saul in the morning, it was told Samuel, saying, Saul came to Carmel, And behold, he set him up a place, and is gone out about, and passed on, and gone down to Gilgal. And Samuel came to Saul, and Saul said unto him, Blessed be thou, O master. I have performed the commandment of the Most High. What's the first thing he did? Lied. See, I have performed the commandment of the Most High. And Samuel said, What meaneth then this bleating of the sheep in mine ears? What is this I'm hearing? These sheep in my ears. And lowing of the oxen which I hear? I'm hearing the oxen. And Saul said, They have brought them from the Amalekites, for the people spared the best of the sheep and of the oxen to sacrifice unto the Most High thy power. Look how he was saying. Wouldn't the Most High be his power? He said they saved all the best of the sheep and the oxen to sacrifice unto the Most High your power. And the rest we have utterly destroyed. Then Samuel said unto Saul, Stay, I will tell thee what the Most High have said to me this night. And he said unto him, Say on. He said, Hey, be quiet. I'm going to tell you what the Most High said to me this night. Remember, be quiet all night long for Saul. Saul said, Say on. Verse 7, and Samuel said, When thou wast little in thine own sight, wast thou not made the head of the tribes of Israel? You are nobody. You was little in your sight. The Most High chose you, a Benjamite, to be king over all of Israel, all the tribes of Israel. And the Most High anointed thee king over Israel. And the Most High sent thee on a journey and said, Go and utterly destroy the sinners. Go and utterly destroy the sinners, the Amalekites, and fight against them until they be consumed. What did he say? Verse 3, Go and smite Amalek, and utterly destroy all that they have, and spare them not, but slay both man and women, infant and suckling, oxen, sheep, camel, and ass. Verse 18, and the Most High sent thee on a journey and said, Go and utterly destroy the sinners, those that break the laws of the Most High, the Amalekites or Amalekites, and fight against them until they be consumed. Wherefore then didst thou not obey the voice of the Most High, but didst fly upon the spoil? You saved some of the oxen and the sheep and the asses, and did evil in the sight of the Most High? When you don't do what he say do, that's evil in the sight of the Most High. And Saul said unto Samuel, Yeah, I have obeyed the voice of the Most High. Lying again. Did he obey the voice of the Most High? No. I have obeyed the voice of the Most High and have gone the way which the Most High sent me.